What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the Atlantic FBO here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And today is a little bit of a different starting point than most of our videos. Usually we are at a gate with an airliner loaded up, but today we're sitting out here on the ramp at an FBO. What is an FBO? Why are these things a thing? And you know, who uses them? Essentially, is what we're going to look at today. We're going to be breaking down some of the differences between the 121 world, which is the scheduled air carriers such as United and American and Delta and Southwest and those types of airlines. We're also going to be taking a look at the Part 135 world, so the NetJets and FlexJet, airlines like Boutique, people like that are Part 135 carriers, and they're kind of scheduled, but they're kind of not. So we're just going to be kind of taking a look at what the differences are between Part 135 and not. The FAA Part 135 certificate is a certificate required by the FAA for a company to operate as a non-scheduled air charter carrier. These places can't necessarily have scheduled routes like these companies like NetJets, and I'm going to use NetJets as an example today, and I don't fly for NetJets, so I don't know exactly how they operate, but they have a longitude livery in the game, so we're going to go with NetJets today. They can't compete with the 121 world, right? So NetJets can't come along and say, we want to fly from Las Vegas to LA, and we're only going to charge $30 a ticket, and we're going to compete with everybody else and their mother who flies that route. NetJets can't do that. They're not legally allowed to do that. And the way they do that is by the FAA says you can only have so many quote-unquote contracts, and that's with people that want to fly on these 135 carriers, people that buy seats on these jets, on these private jets. You can only have so many contracts and so many basically flights to these airports, you know, in a certain period of time, whether it be every day. Again, I don't know the exact way to put that, but that's the best way that I can think of it. Yeah, so they can't really compete directly with the 121 world. It's just not allowed. If they did, they'd have to go under the Part 121 certificate, the Part 121 ticket, which would then make them a scheduled air carrier, and then make them be able to do those types of routes, you know, whenever they want, and then they have to bid for the route and everything like that. So it's a little more complicated than just, you know, saying I want to fly from JFK to LA. Okay, yeah, so does everybody else, you know. So you have to. There's a lot more that goes into that than you think, and more than we'd be able to fit in just this video. We do a lot of 121 operations on this channel, so I just thought it would be kind of interesting to show you what it looks like as a Part 135 pilot. And I do currently fly for a Part 135 operator, and it works similarly to this. We don't usually leave from FBOs. We usually have a spot at the terminal, granted, albeit small terminals, small gates, stuff like that, but we do usually have a spot. So where I fly kind of honestly makes it even more complicated and kind of blurs the line between 135 and 121, but it works. So this company called Atlantic is one of the most popular FBOs, I mean, certainly in the United States, and a lot of the airports that you go to, you're going to see, you know, maybe you'll hear on the radio, hey, where are you parking? We're going to the Atlantic FBO. And what is an FBO? An FBO is a fixed-based operator. So basically, like, Atlantic isn't an airline. It's not Atlantic is kind of more of a facilitator, right? They have a space at the airport. They have a big ramp where you can come and park your jets. You can get fuel here, and they have like line service, maybe some general maintenance. Usually not. Usually you probably have to call a company guy for that. A company, you know, certified A&P, all that type of stuff, who's trained to work on your jet and everything like that. But like, this is typically what an FBO ramp would look like. You'd have all kinds of little jets, maybe some private 737s like we have here in Vegas. Certainly in Vegas, you could see some stuff like that. Probably a service truck just like that. You know, golf cart running around, bringing bags to planes and stuff like that, and shuttling people back and forth from the planes to the terminal and everything like that. And like I said, it doesn't even have to be a company. Maybe this plane that flew in right here is just a privately owned, you know, little Learjet or whatever that is. You know, maybe it's not even a NetJets or any of those other Part 135 carriers. Maybe it's just a Part 91 flight, which is just somebody who, you know, is a rich person who says, hey, I want to rent this plane and fly it to Vegas. And then they would park here as well, and they'd pay a fee to put their plane on the ramp overnight if they're staying overnight and everything. And so there's all kind of stuff that goes into that too. So basically the FBOs are like a come one, come all. Like even, you know, in my private pilot and commercial pilot training, whenever you take a cross country somewhere, like I remember for my commercial cross country, my long one, I went to Lexington, Kentucky, and I parked at the Atlantic FBO, and they come out and they marshal you in, and they treat you just like a, you know, you flew in a Gulfstream. You know, I flew there in a Piper Archer, and they treat you just the same. You could really see a very wide range of airplanes on the ramp at an FBO. Obviously, way over here, you've got your typical airline gates. You've got where Southwest and United and anybody else who goes over there parks. So these FBOs can be quite a ways away from the terminal. And so basically then, like the pilots, you know, maybe they'd get a shuttle if it was cold or whatever, but usually you can walk across the ramp. So from, you know, this point on, we'll kind of try to do things like we were a pilot showing up for a day's work, you know, and depending on who you're flying, you know, you'd probably maybe get a better parking spot than we got today. We'll go ahead and walk over to where we have our plane loaded up, getting ready to start your day. Usually these Part 135 flights are quicker. Our flight today, we're going to be going down to Van Nuys, California. It's only going to be about 40 minutes of airtime, and we're going to be, SimBrief has us cruising at 36,000, but it looks like on flight radar or flight aware, this flight cruised down to Van Nuys at 20,000 feet. So we're probably only going to get up to flight level 200 today. And again, you're kind of at the mercy of your passengers with the Part 135. So, you know, a lot of times you got rich people. Maybe they've got a little bit of an attitude. Maybe think the world revolves around them. Maybe they're really cool. Who knows? You know, I don't want to generalize like that. You know, hopefully they're on time, right? But, you know, I've heard guys waiting for hours for their passengers to show up. And sometimes that's just how it is. So this is probably something like what you'd see whenever you get there. Maybe there's nobody waiting for you. Maybe, you know, your captain called out for you. Maybe you are the captain. Maybe you called out and got some fuel. Maybe they're loading your plane up already with fuel and bags. Maybe they, you know, aren't. So you just get in there and kind of check and see what the state of things are and what you need and what you don't need. You know, it is more on you than on the 121 world, right? I mean, like, I don't know about the 121 world. I would assume your dispatch probably calls for fuel, right? You're probably not calling Menzies as a, you know, sitting in an Airbus 320 flying at Delta. You know, you're probably not calling the fuelers to come over. Hey, we need 10,000 gallons of gas. You know, when you be over, you know, I'm sure dispatch probably sets that stuff up for you. But, you know, here in this situation at the FBO, it is more on you, and you'd be calling them again, unless you're flying for maybe a bigger company. Like, again, I don't fly for NetJets. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe NetJets does do that type of thing for you, and maybe they will call for fuel. So it depends. It does depend on kind of what's waiting for you and what's not. So other than that, you know, we walked over to the airplane, we cracked the door open, and just hop inside and see what we need to get done. And you know, we just make sure we'll turn on the batteries here, get some power going, maybe get the seatbelt signs on, and then just like any other airline pilot, you just want to get all your lights on and just make sure that all your lights work. So we'd go outside, got our recog and taxi and landing lights here. All these look good. Going out to the leading edge of the wing here, you've got our very dim strobe. Is that what I'm seeing there? I don't know, I can't even tell. Nav light, and then it's the daytime, so it'd be tougher to see, but you can look up and see that the tail floodlight is on right there, right here. You see that that's on. Go around, make sure the other side's looking good. See that it is right there. Yeah, this is gonna be a very general walk around, just kind of to give you guys an example. Obviously, I personally like to do 3 walk arounds. I do the general walk around with the lights. I do fluid, so if I have to sump fuel or if I have to check the oil, and then I like to do another walk around where I check the rest of the stuff: the brakes, the tire tread, the ailerons, and the flaps, and all of those types of things. All right, nav light looks good there, and then we'll assume that the strobe light, wherever that thing is on, and then you kind of come back in and you can turn off all your other lights. Like I said, we leave the safety belts on for the passengers that are coming on board with us today. Get weather and get your altimeter set and all that good stuff. If you have ground power available, you'd start using that as opposed to the battery power. And let's get the APU started, because like I said, we're flying a very important passenger today, and they're not going to want to come on a cold airplane, that's for sure. So we got a good APU start, and let's jump down here and check out our flight plan and see what we got going for us here. ExactJet 369, Vegas to Van Nuys. We'll go ahead and request that and import it. We're flying offline today, so nothing crazy. We'll just squawk 2000, the standard squawk code in the US. Enter that. We'll turn it on, I guess, even though, like I said, we definitely don't have to or anything like that. I guess why not? Let's see if we can take a look at the Navigraph and make sure we've got everything kind of going for us here or not. So here we are up here at the FBO. Weather in Vegas is currently 040 at 4, so winds are calm, so we could probably take 19 right, which is great. So sometimes these FBOs are really quick taxis, like way quicker than, you know, any of these airline gates could be down here. But sometimes they're also really long taxis because you're, you know, at one of the approach ends of the runway. It's either going to be really short or really long. So we got the Raider 2 for our departure today. Top altitude on the SIDS flight level 190. We're only climbing to 200 anyways. Set 190 there. And then we just kind of have our step through. We're going to climb a heading 194 to 2682, then direct to Diru, out of below 7,000. And then the rest of that. So we'll set 194 on the heading there. We can, that's honestly, it's a full 360. We'll just, or 180, I mean. We'll just, that's a full 180, so we'll just wait to set that till we get on the runway. Other than that, everything else looks good down here. It's going to be a pretty quick flight. So we want to do as much on the ground as we can with these quick flights too, because you just never know, you know, you're not going to have much time once you get in the air. So if you can, do as much stuff as you can on the ground. So let's take a look at the weight and fuel. We'll say we're carrying 4 people today, 180 each. Say they got about 500 pounds of cargo. They're going down to Van Nuys. They're bringing some vacation stuff for sure. FOB sync, we've got 7,100 pounds on board, and that is going to be good enough for our OFP because we only need 4.2 on board for that, so that looks good. And then the takeoff, let's go back to the perf page, takeoff data. Load METAR, use rat, show METAR if we want. We don't need to. Runway 1 right, we're going to switch that actually. We're going to go off runway 19, what are we close to? 19 right preferably, please. 19 right, I think we can still, yeah, we can still take the Raider 2. It's still got that for us. I don't think, no, we're still going to just kind of, we're just going to come straight this way, then Raider, then Silver, and then out. So Raider 2, Raider, Silver, we're going to load that up. So again, we got Diru. I don't think, are we going to need Diru still? Diru, yeah. We're going to have to be at or below 7,000, which will be easy. Then Flab at or above 13,000, or no, it's saying just straight to Raider. It's saying straight to Raider. So we'll be out to Raider, and then Silver, and then we are out. And then 1 fix to Cream, and then we're in on the arrival. Cream at flight level 240, so maybe we'll cruise at 240 if we can, because it wants us there for that. And then Donut at 230, John at 220, Basil, Diver, sorry, Chickens, Copal at 14,000, Palmdale VOR at below 13, Janny at 8,000, Puck at 8,000, Eiffel at 7,000, Umber at above 6,000, and the runway 16 right approach going into Van Nuys. That looks good, 140 at 8, and Van Nuys, yeah, I'd much rather take 16 right than 16 left. Let's load up an approach for that runway while we're here. ILS Zulu runway 16 right is probably going to be our most likely option. What's the ILS Yankee look like? Yeah, whatever. ILS Zulu it is. Select approach ILS Yankee runway 16 right. Let's do the Zulu, por favor. And we'll take it from, let's see, is Umber an option? Umber is an option, so that's perfect. And then the minimums are going to be 1095, even though it looks beautiful down there today. We're probably not going to need those, but we'll just use it. And we're just going to load it. It always tells you that with an ILS approach whenever you're using RNAV systems like this, so nothing to worry about there. Okay, I think we've pretty much done all of our pre-flight. So the procedure is done, the performance, the takeoff data, the landing data. Actually, wait, I didn't do I need new takeoff data because we switched the runways. No! Why did I do that again? Runway 19 right. Okay. Alright, that's good. That was being nicer then. We'll accept those takeoff speeds, check the flaps and all that stuff, so we'll just kind of leave that set up for now. I'll leave it on flight plan. And other than that, we're pretty much ready to rock and roll here, guys. So we're going to go overhead and turn on the anti-collision lights so that everybody knows we're starting up. Usually you'd have a marshaller over here, so these guys are kind of useless in the sim. Obviously, they'd move that cart as well. We can stop using the external power, too. They'd move that cart and everything, but we're just kind of going to taxi out around it and around everybody. And like I said, they'd marshal you out and everything like that. we've got our passengers. Everybody's all loaded up and ready to go down to Van Nuys. So all we're going to have to do then is start them up. So let's go and start up. We'll start number 1 first. I don't know which one you're supposed to do. We started number 2 on stream earlier today. Hit that to run, turn that to start, and you've got some numbers moving on the screen there on the iCast. All right, sounds like a good start on engine number 1. Let's go ahead and start 2. All right, just like that, guys, we can get the APU off. We can go to flaps 1 for our takeoff flaps setting. Get the takeoff trim into the green band there. And pretty much just like that, guys, we are ready for taxi. We'd call for taxi clearance just like normal. And like I said, we'd have a marshal alert and everything like that, but they're not going to really help us out here today, so we're going to do it ourselves. And like I said, super quick taxi today. You know, we've got the famous people in the back. We've got Taylor Swift or something like that. Nice quick taxi for her. So we got a taxi line right there. So, you know, a lot of times these ramps are uncontrolled too, especially over here at the FBOs and stuff like that. So, you know, can definitely be a little bit challenging kind of navigating your way through. Got to be careful too. A lot of times you're on your own in terms of separation and stuff like that with the winglets and what you're hitting. Taxi. I wonder what the store with those big letters here in Vegas is. If you guys know, leave in the comments. I don't know. All right, we're getting close to the runway, so we'll go ahead and flick all of our lights on. Or, well, I better said, we got clear for takeoff, so let's flick all of our lights on here. And like I said, I don't know the longitude like the back of my hand, so I don't know, you know, whether or not that's an accurate procedure, what I just did right there. So they gave us an intersection departure from Juliet. We can take this right turn right here. And we'll go ahead and do that. And the name of the game is Speed here in the Part 135 industry. Efficiency, right? That's what this side of the business runs on. Is, you know, the reason you're taking a private jet is to avoid traveling with everybody, avoid, you know, the scrutiny of TSA. Not to say that you're avoiding TSA, but, you know, you're not going through with 100,000 other people. So let's do this thing. Oop. No auto throttle, I don't think, on takeoff, so we're kind of just gonna hit him. Takeoff setting. Takeoff is green. Airspeed's alive. Eighty knots. And rotate. Ooh. I'm gonna try to be a little more gentle than that. Positive rate gears coming up. And we're at 400 feet. Let's go heading mode, flight level change, and autopilot on. Flight level change 200 knots for now. We're above our flap speed. Let's go ahead and go flaps up. That should switch to 250 after that. Oh wait, shoot, I've got the heading wrong. Terrible pilot. And we're also kind of blowing through the speed, so if I have level change on, it should do auto throttle, and now it should work, or not. Auto throttle, flight level change to 250. See, I don't know why it's not. Like I said, I don't fly this jet or anything like that, so I don't know exactly what the ins and outs of it. See, it just goes yellow. I heard it gets a little bit better once you get out above 10,000 feet, so we'll just kind of rock with the whole 250 knots thing for now. And it says we can go direct to DRU, so let's go direct to DRU, activate direct DRU, and then you're going to come up here and go to nav mode as well. Okay, direct flap maybe then, is that what it's kind of waiting for here? Or radar? Let's see that, let's go direct to radar. Activate direct to radar, there we go. Okay. Still climbing, still at 250. I don't think the VNAV won't work on the climb in this thing. We're just going to stick it back on auto throttle and just kind of see what happens. I think we're doing fine. Yeah, like I said, guys, the name of the game is Speed. Coming through 10,000, we get our landing lights off, and this is going to be such a quick flight. They're probably not paying attention back there anyways. We can go and get the safety belts off as well. Alright guys, just like that, we're going to cruise. I'm going to bug up flight level 240, and I'm going to see where that is in here. It should go to that, so we should be fine. So, okay. Other than that, guys, we'll talk to you here when we're a little closer to our top descent. Alright guys, from here you might give a little passenger announcement telling we reach our cruising altitude and everything like that. We've reached our cruising altitude, you know, we've got however long to go. Does it give you? Oh, it does. That's kind of nice. About 26 minutes to go, about a half hour to go, I'd probably say. You know, we got about a half hour to go till we get on the ground at Van Nuys. Weather's good. Let's see what's the weather. Winds out of the southeast at 8 knots. 17 degrees Celsius, which is 63 degrees Fahrenheit, and clear skies. Like I said, we'll be on the ground here in about 30 minutes. Hang tight. Thanks for flying with us today. Something like that, you know. Maybe they would. Maybe they wouldn't even make a passenger announcement. I don't know. In terms of the flying, like I said, we'd basically just bug up a lower altitude, and then this thing's nice. You just bug up that low altitude, hit VNAV, and we'd have our top of descent. We got top of descent in 6 minutes. We'll take a look again at Navigraph. So fire station, we have hangars. Now the Navigraph, the JEP charts don't really tell you what, like, are what. These are all, you know, hangars more or less. It looks like NetJets has their own hangar actually in Van Nuys, which I think is somewhere over here. So basically, I mean, again, you know, in the sim, it's wishy-washy. You know, maybe you get there, maybe you don't. But we're gonna land on 16 right. We'll make a left on Golf or Kilo and park somewhere over here. Like I said, obviously in, you know, your real life, you'd have better charts and. You know, you'd be able to say, oh, this is the hangar right here. You'd talk to Tower, you'd say, hey, we need to go to Atlantic. I'm unfamiliar with the airport. You know, can you get us there? Another thing you'd probably do is call your company frequency. You know, you tell them, hey, you know, we've got 4 passengers. We're, you know, half hour or about 15 minutes out. Maybe we're starting the descent, something like that. Depends on where the SOPs say you should call them. Everybody's different. You know, we'll be on the ground in 15 minutes, 4 passengers. We'll need fuel. We won't need fuel. We'll need lav cart, we need more snacks, we need ice, we need, you know, whatever. Like, you're kind of your own flight attendant too, in a way. Unless you have a flight, sometimes you do have a flight attendant, but you're kind of your own flight attendant in a way if you don't. So you got to keep track of all that stuff, right? That's all on you. That's another big difference in the Part 135 world, is it's all on you. You know, again, you're your flight attendant, you're calling for fuel, you're doing a lot of stuff in the 135 world. So, okay guys, we'll see you, like I said, once we start down into Van Nuys. Alright guys, bring it on down into Van Nuys here. Coming up on our transition altitude. We'll be transitioning to altimeter 299.5 once we do that. You know, another thing about Part 135 operation, especially out here in places like LA and, you know, New York, super busy airspaces. You know, NetJets, for example, one of their bases out west or out east is Teterboro, and Teterboro is right in the middle of, you know, JFK and LaGuardia and Newark, and so they fly into those types of airports and kind of really take over those types of airports in these busy airspaces, so that they don't have to deal with the general traffic through JFK and, you know, LaGuardia and Newark. And out here, you can look on the map and it shows that Van Nuys is right next to Burbank, and Burbank isn't a whole heck of a lot farther away from LAX, from Long Beach, from all these airports down here. So flying into Van Nuys, you know, which is basically just right on the outskirts of, you know, LA, a huge plus for these guys that, you know, again, would rather fly into, you know, need to get to LA, but don't want to fly into Burbank or LAX or, you know, even Ontario over here. Like, you know, going to a place like Van Nuys, you know, some of these smaller places like Santa Monica, are ideal for people who are looking to save money and save time. I guess maybe not save money, but maybe pay for their time a little bit, I guess, would be maybe a good word, a good phrase for what they're trying to do. So that's another kind of thing that the Part 135 community is there for, right? And you know, again, there's a reason for it. There's a reason that not, you know, American isn't doing charter flights to go into there. You know, first of all, because American would need to sell, you know, 300 seats on an Airbus 321 or you know, a 737, something like that. It needs to have 180, 200 seats on those types of planes to go into these places and turn a profit. You know, these guys only have to sell 4. You know, really probably only a couple seats, because these jets are like $10,000 an hour to operate or something like that. You know, it varies, obviously, but yeah, they're like $10,000 an hour to operate. So, you know, probably the more people that you get, the cheaper it would be, right? Like going to Topgolf or something. I don't know. I've never rented out a private jet, but you know, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But you know, it would probably be something like the more people you get, the cheaper it would be. I guess probably split the cost a little bit, and maybe do things that way. All right, coming through 10,000 feet. We're slowing down to 250 knots, and we'll get our lights on. All right, guys, so we're working on getting spun back around for our approach here. Beautiful, beautiful scenery down here in Van Nuys. We're going to go ahead and activate our vectors to final. And basically what that's going to do is that's going to give us green needles down here. Final approach, of course, 164. That checks out over there in VATSIM. And we're at 4,000. Our glide slope intercept is... we're going to keep this turn coming. A little tight to those mountains. Go manual speed, slow it down as well. Keep that turn a little tighter. We were going to get pretty close. We're going to get pretty close to these mountains, but yeah, I see it. We're good. Okay, alright. Turn it all the way back to east. Actually, no, we can't. Let's heading sync it. No, it's fine. We're just going to go north for a second just so we can get outside of Furry. Right here, which is going to be our final approach fix at 3,800. We're going to arm our approach mode as well. We have localizer glide slope armed, and everything else looks good. Like I said, we're just going to bug up that speed there. We can go flaps 1. No more terrain. So we'll go flaps 1. Just leave it right on that flaps 2 speed. Looks like somewhere around 230. I'm going to try to keep this turn coming all the way around. Let's try to get slowed way up as well. Let's go flaps 2 now. Let's go all the way down to 200. Final approach speed is 137. RF speed, I don't know if that's reference speed. I don't know what the deal with that is. We'll go to flaps. We'll bug up the flaps full speed. We'll go gear down. We're going to try to spin this thing all the way around, like I said, give it as much help as possible. We'll go to like a 120 heading for the time being. Let me see. If I go to manual, 160. That's if I activate vectors to final. What happens if I activate... I don't know. We're below the glide slope. Glide slope is coming in, though. 140 now is our speed, so it's targeting the approach speed somewhat, it seems like. And just kind of working on the heading. Put it in sync mode so it comes with us. Missed approach altitude is going to be 1750, it says. So there's our airport. Glide slope's captured, and we're flaps full. We're geared down. Everything looks good. And we're going to be nice and smooth on this approach on the way in here. Obviously, guys, last step here, grease this landing. We've got VIPs in the back. We've got guys that we want to keep flying with us here at NetJets. So last step is going to be just to absolutely butter this thing on runway 16 right here in Van Nuys. So let's go ahead and do that. Nice long runway, I'm pretty sure. 8,000 feet. It's pretty long enough. All right, let's go with the autopilot off and the auto throttle as well. We'll go flight director off. We can need a lot of power in this thing to keep the airspeed. We're stable. And we're landing. Oh, getting a little low on the glide. We'll go ahead and correct that. 'Alright, negative 175. I guess we'll take that little bit of a float. Everybody in the back is happy, they're clapping. Missed kilo, if we kind of get on the brakes a little bit, we can make November. Papa, I'm sorry. Like I said, guys, made everybody in the back happy, so we will take that all day. It looks like there's a parking lot over here. It's probably an FBO. So we'll go ahead and take this one. Get the flaps up. As we clear the runway, we'll just leave the taxi lights on and get the APU kicking. And then, like I said, you know, you just let them know, hey, we're here. You know, where you want to park, all that stuff. There's be a marshaller waiting out for you. And this looks more like a shipping location. Oh, there's actually there's a marshaller over here. Let's go find them. Turn the taxi light off as we turn in here. Oh, look at him. He's ready for us, or she. This is pretty much just what it would be like right here. Just waiting for you. Stop you right there. And we'll set the parking brake. And actually, before we do that, let's do this. We're going to go back and take a look at our landing.
Minimums. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 40, 30, 20, 10.
Alrighty, guys, we'll go ahead and set that parking brake, and we'll kill the engine. So we get our lights off, we'll get our anti-collision lights off, and the seatbelt signs off. And just like that, they'd open up the doors. Wow. They'd open up the doors, and we'd get everybody out of here. So that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, like I said, there's biggest differences between the Part 135 operations and the 121 operations are just the fact that, you know, we're going to smaller airports, generally speaking, taking less people, and it's more expensive usually. But I mean, also cheaper depending on how you look at it. But depending on how much you fly and everything like that. But yeah, guys, hope that was a pretty cool video. That was pretty much just distinguishing the Part 135 world from the Part 121 world, and hopefully we'll do a video about the 121 world here sooner rather than later, and kind of walk you through that. So hope you guys enjoyed that, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.